Hey, I want to thank everybody for supporting the channel and watching the video in whatever capacity that you did, whether you watched it or you listened to it. I want to support Night Cafe and Dolly AI for providing the AI art. This is the first time that I used Dolly AI. However, I don't know if I'm going to be using them in the future, as I did find within their terms of service that they are practicing censorship. I spent 3 years living under the CCP, and I never really, I hate living under censorship, and using Dolly AI after I understood their terms of services felt like I was living underneath the CCP, you know, where you search something on Baidu, you flip a coin, type in beach ball, coin lands tails, blocked, 404 error, you will not see the beach ball. It really cramped my style when I put that prompt in, and they did that to me. However, Night Cafe, great job, great terms of service, very liberal. Really supporting the art form of just letting artists express themselves. Earlier in the day, I started feeling fluey. I cancel my plans and go to bed at 8 p.m., hoping sleeping 10 hours would give me an advantage against it. I take 3 droppers of Harlequin CBD Green Dragon to hold my temperature down. However, it didn't go so well. Bad trip, man. Much creativity welled forth from Harlequin. It came on like a sativa and finished like an indica. I probably should have only taken 1.5 droppers. I just wanted to make sure it hit the first go. As it is CBD, I figured it wise doubling the dose, as CBD only has the effect of preventing me from getting high on THC. When I had COVID, I used sativa THC Green Dragon. 3 droppers came on light, and I needed to take successive doses thereafter. My illness wakes me up with a mild headache. Opening my eyes, I'm disoriented and can't shake out of it. Generally by this time, a flu has arrived in full force. I did everything I could to keep from falling over on my desk. I blame Harlequin. The flu took over, and I closed my eyes. I'm swimming toward a large wooden grandstand with a diverse heap of strangers. As a group, we climb into the grandstand. Some of us take 5 to sit in the bleachers to catch our breath, while the rest continue climbing higher up the platform. We all formed couples before exiting the water. I caught on quicker than most, picking a very handsome, tall, dark-haired woman. I hang on to her, even though she feels like a robot. As soon as everyone is paired, a switch is tossed. I rewatch the previous scene, which is blurred and out of focus. Suddenly, sharp in focus, showing the treachery in my opponent's smiles. Everyone tries to convince their peers to abandon their partner by any means, including physical force. A black man charges to push me overboard from behind. I pivot around my woman, sending him over the edge with his own energy. Others succeed in pushing someone else's partner overboard, but they all go over with their partners, the foundation of their relationships being less important than the bond between them. There's a difference between the relationships that survive and those that don't. A bold statement in my mind that I know by heart. Those that don't make it are sabotaged from within by the individual's uncontrolled internal mechanisms. Those that manage to stay together and reach the platform jump into the water together as a couple in unison with the other couples. My partner and I leap, holding hands, before finding comfort in a tight embrace instead, held with all of our strength, which grows as we gain speed. We hit water and swim back to the steps of the grandstands, reaching out, grabbing hold together. Looking back, we see a shark swimming toward us, only a few feet away, mouth wide open, full of glowing sharp teeth frozen as a snapshot. I consider pushing a long metal rod lengthwise into its mouth and raking at its teeth. All its teeth have been raked free, but it bites hard and fresh teeth gradually rise up. Snapping out of my delusion, I pop my arms as hard and fast as I can without regard for safety. I rocket out of the water, lifting my spouse with me. We should have been eaten, but were spared. I blame the pause on Wellbutrin, suppressing my instinct to survive. I walk the contact between the grandstand and water. The stands disappear under a sandy beach, put there by a bitter old man who was trying to increase the sediment load of the water in order to wear away the supports of the bridge downstream. Stepping from the sand onto the concrete of a parking lot in front of the mining company I'm working at for this field season. Behind me is a large patch of green grass surrounding a small island of sand. The island carries my fresh footprint, existing without so much as displacing a single grain of sand in the perfect grass around it. One of the processes I'm studying is the disposal of pulverized toxic materials transported to the bottom of the Atlantic within the fan of the Amazon River, where the company deposits them evenly over the ocean floor to be safely covered over by fresh river silt, expanding the continent in the process. I meet Joey, my supervisor from a previous contract. He recommended me to this new company. He escorts me to take the pre-job drug screening. This company mines a single mineral, piling up outside the mine entrance. Joey tells me, "Rule number 1, don't step on the small island of sand around the grass. I've been told horror stories about those who have. You also need to have the company VR experience." The VR world is nothing abnormal, another world in which I become disassociated with my real body, without forgetting the real world it's in. Not long after, I no longer care to tell one from the other. I enter an art gallery beginning my first training program. All the details change on me in a flip. Climbing the wild spiral staircase, all the details of it distort as if I'm viewing it through water. I recognize I'm walking in an incident. This detail doesn't bother me like it should. At the top of the stairs is the entrance to a room. Within the room, my location changes with each step where I actually appear within the room. There are a pair of couches, but I can't tell if they are real or not, as I can't touch them without direction. I don't see any mirrors, but I suspect this is what is going on. I arrive at a location close enough to a wall that I reach out and touch it. It's cool to the touch. I stand still for a minute wondering, why am I here? I touch the wall again, which now feels wet. Taking a closer look, water is flowing from the pore space. I run back downstairs, calling out and pointing up. "This wall is leaking a lot of water." No one seems concerned. I figure it must be a part of the gallery. One more step and I'm at the opposite doorway, the couches to my back. I pivot to face the couches and step, entering the next room, which is the size of an airplane hangar. A single artist has set up a collection of 3D and 360 art. He calls the collection Tuscan Restaurant, as it is a 1-to-1 scale model of a Tuscan restaurant, including the parking lot and some of the rural outskirts of a town. In the back, I find a bistro selling sandwiches. I can't tell if the sandwiches are real or not. They're asking for money, but I don't want a sandwich I don't believe is going to nourish me in any real way. I become concerned that they will still charge me even if I reject the sandwich for being fake. I turn around and walk back the way I came, as this part of the room is a dead end, entering the store which sells merchandise but operates in an old-time way. There are many cages holding all kinds and sizes of rats. I wander the narrow passage between each row of cages. I unwittingly turn down a row near the center of the room, where a worker collects a rat in a small plastic box for a customer. I turn back the way I had come. I'm very much aware of the rats, as I can't help but bump into their heads as I pass. I wouldn't bump them if they didn't lash out at me, their claws tearing at my sweatshirt. Outside the aisle, I feel much heavier. Checking myself out, I discover rats representing a diverse collection of sizes hanging onto my sweater. I tear them off, gently slinging them back into the aisle. Feeling weird, I'm ejected from the VR simulation. It was so unreal that I had to immediately go outside to make a voice recording. I pretend to dial a number into my phone, but the voice recorder is already rolling. Holding the phone to my ear, I pretend to be on the phone with someone. I talk to myself about the dream I've just had, not wanting to forget the details. After which I walk down Alaskan Boulevard and board the Bainbridge Ferry, which takes me to the island. When I arrive, people on the dock attack me. I manage to escape unharmed. Once safe, the employer of the people blocks my way, saying, "I would like to talk." He brings me into his office, hands me a bill for $60. "This is the bill for your uniform." Sure, is Saturday okay? I'm out of checks right now, but I'll be up on Beacon Hill before Saturday. Or you could withdraw it from my first paycheck. He reacts very sympathetically in the form of a sad face stricken with anguish at the thought of my plight.
Yeah, I could do that for you.
I had been very nervous about this meeting. There is a possibility I failed the drug test, so I've been expecting to be fired at any moment. I returned to Joey's office telling him the good news. I've officially passed my grace period and have been officially hired.
That's great. Now get in the truck so we can get out of here.
He runs and skips into the bathroom. His feet slap the floor. I try and follow, but he pulls a 360 spinning kick, making me pause before entering the bathroom. Outside, I recognize the Tuscan villa behind me. I go into the bathroom, quickly exploring the space and concluding, I'm not sure how to exit this room. My wife logs in for the VR experience and wants to play a game within a laboratory. We put on a VR headset, entering a world that is more realistic than reality. All spectrums of light are visible and filterable. A small group of robots come into view, attacking us. All we have is an axe and a whip to defend ourselves. I meet one with a chop attack. Another hits me with a chain covered in hooks. It pulls away the chain and I feel a piece of metal move in my mouth. I don't spit it out because I don't know what will come out. My wife is not so skillful and is killed. I call out to her, "Hey, did you die?" "Yeah, it got me." I don't last long without her. All this has been captured on video as I've been dropping a camera on a tripod recording bursts. The video was supposed to be for a tourism commercial, the whole reason I came to the island in the first place. Now I'm in the same situation, wandering through a Tuscan villa looking for a toilet. I'm about ready to piss anywhere when I get the bright idea, leave! There should be one outside. This plan pays off as I find myself back home with my wife. She's finally aware, but taking her time getting up. I shake with nervousness, remembering that I was supposed to be following Joey through my orientation right now. Exiting the situation, I go to the locker room for my hard hat, but don't understand what I'm doing. I discover lumps of rock in my hard hat when I flip it over on my head. Some of the stones fall out, but a few remain. The action crushes the stones into powder, revealing them to be ore. I overhear my coworker, Davi Swild, being congratulated on 30 months sober. He looks very melancholy about the whole ordeal. I made a NFT recently that is selling really well. The NFT is for an outdoor grocery store. I use the restaurant I work at, including the employees, to make the model. I instruct them into positions for the pictures. While working with one of the black employees, I reposition him for the second photo. He says, "There you go, that's enough." "No, I haven't captured your image yet." He looks very confused. I haven't spoken to any of them in a while now. I spin, making a couple rotations in the process, becoming a black woman in her early 20s. I've just landed a job out in the country, somewhere with trees. I have a long commute to get there, and I'm a little nervous about my first day, as I'm black. Meeting my boss, I label him as a country honky-tonk with the appearance of a trafficking rapist pedophile. When he speaks, it sounds like words, but I can't understand him. But I do catch a piece once.
"Go back down there at the end of the property and meet him back on the other side."
I do as he suggests, walking in a counterclockwise spiral around the property. The spiral widens with each pass. My path intercepts my parents' home, passing through the walls and floor plan with each cycle. I'm currently going from house to house on foot in this community, walking right to the house, opening the front door without knocking, stepping inside. I walk into the bedroom, then the kitchen, just to prove to the community I know where everything is in all these houses. Even though they have a modicum of uniqueness, the floor plans are all the same. Arriving on the other side of the property, another man who is equally inbred instructs me to keep on going clear to the side. I complete one more lap around the property to the correct side, where I don't see anyone else waiting for me. However, I notice it is time for my morning run. I continue the spiral at a jog. It's convenient that I'm already in my sweats. I begin a monologue that evolves into a narration of what I'm doing and what else I will do today. My expectations of this place are not good. I feel I need to be ready to guard myself from the locals. I hear running, turning my head towards the source, discovering the source to be me. The sound takes an unsettling character. I worry the country folk who hear me will be disturbed by the sound of exercise, as it is outside of their experience. I expect to hear gunshots as I pass by a few hilly plantations and a rundown trailer park. Dry leaves crunch below my feet.
What you doing, boy?
A man shouts from the porch to my left. I run on, weaving around others, walking with their own distractions. The sidewalk comes to stairs leading down a steep slope. Sitting on the step is a boy, a child of the state. I smile broadly, saying, "Hi!" Only now do I notice the boy is without arms. He sits stock still, staring off in the darkness. As I pass, I see in his eyes he notices me. He topples head over heels down the stairs. He continues to tumble after reaching the landing. Instead of continuing down the stairs, I turn back, going to the Subway restaurant right next to the stairs on the upper landing. The sandwich artist is making a masterpiece at the moment, so I have to wait for him to take my order. His sandwiches are odd looking. They are the size of a stack of $1's worth of nickels laid down. Lastly, he twists the sandwich together. I see the sandwich before me has onions and think, I don't want onions in my sandwich. The artist twists the sandwich and the onions eject like lip balm from the tube. He pulls them out, placing the sandwich down, and turns around. I grab the sandwich thinking, fuck this shit, running from the restaurant. Recently, many parts of society have broken down. I've moved back in with my family. It's a single-family home which occupies a flat, grassy spot. On the side of the house, there is a graffiti-style mural of Bart Simpson smoking a cigarette. Bart holds a closed Zippo lighter in his hand. I have a job nearby. Returning from work, I notice the house has aged significantly since the last time I took the time to consider the structure. The roof has collapsed in a few places, as well as one of the walls. The mural of Bart has also been altered. The lighter is now open, and with a real piece of burning rope with a metal wire wrapped around it has been added to represent the wick. A PVC tube extends from his mouth over the rope, making the mural a sculpture. The tip of the PVC is melted black and just out of reach of the flame. I bring my wife with me to the house to look around. We stand inside the fence, looking out at the street as a shady old car rolls up and stops in front of us. An old crackhead lady is behind the wheel. She yells, reacting to the confusion on my face, she says,
You got my money?
"We have the money. Do you have the stuff?" She gets out of the car and approaches us. She hands my wife a bag. My wife hands her $10.
I'm not going to get any more of that for a while, so make good use of it.
She gets back in her car and drives away. We walk away from the house across the grassy field in silence. Meeting another woman, my wife gives her the bag. Taking the bag, the woman opens it, taking out a vial. Uncorking it, she drops a couple of drops of the liquid held within into her eyes. We get into my car and drive until we are trapped in traffic. I explain, things have really changed for me. I'm actually going to be leaving here pretty soon because my parents unexpectedly moved. They didn't even tell me before they left. Free from traffic, we arrive at my house and go inside. The floor plan of this house is the same as the house I grew up in. Robbie Schroeder rents one of the rooms and sets up an EDSM recording element at the top of the stairs at the intersection of the hallway, living room, and kitchen. The element is made of a dam of pebbles holding back a continuous flow of water from the garden hose which has flooded the living room. The water that breaches the top of the dam trickles over the rocks stacked on each step of the stairs. Some water manages to pool in the hallway. Coming up the stairs, I call to Robbie. "Hey Robbie, is the water supposed to pool like this in the hallway?"
No, I just need the waterfall sound so I can get into the right headspace.
"Okay, I'll check with my dad, but I think this might be damaging the house." All I want you to do is download it. Though you could use it. It's got a sleep tracker in it that uses sonar. It's like 80% effective at diagnosing sleep disorders, as well as it has a whole bunch of articles in there for helping you to get a better night's sleep. If you haven't already, go check out my book, What Dreams Have You Forgotten, on Amazon. Also, go check out my film, The Roast of Casey Judson.